Hello, check, check. Can you hear me? Okay. Firstly, huge shout out to all of your beautiful smiling faces. Thank you all for being here. Check, check. Uno, dos, uno, dos. All right. And I'm going to ask you all for a grace because even though the theme is Crossroads, I'm at the crossroads of asking to be articulate and waking up very early in the morning. So y'all go easy on me. I'll try to keep it simple and be generally as good as I can. I also want to give a huge shout out to the team. Sophie and Rachel have been doing this for a good long time, a year and a half. And I just remember when I did go solo as an artist, I was just sharing with my wife, I really longed for coworkers, and I didn't have that because I was going solo. And so just to come here and to hear people just be passionate and do things that they love, and even if it was a very different discipline from my own, it really meant a lot. And so I just want to shout out everyone's courage at braving the elements and getting here and getting yourself here, because I know it's not all the way easy. I also want to shout out Lorraine. Lorraine, would you raise your hand? Lorraine is she coached me she's a professional speaking coach, and so I'm pointing at you just in case. If I put my foot in my mouth, you know who you could talk to. Just kidding. Just kidding. Lorraine, thank you so much for helping me organize my thoughts. Shout out to Hemlock and Logitech, the team who's out here doing your thing. And of course, last but not least, the volunteers who were holding us down, the faces that greeted you and let you in and gave you stickers to write your name on and stuff. Shout out to all of y'all. Thank you. All right. With no further ado, I just want to tell you all that I'm going to give you basically not an authoritative treatise on anything. I'm going to move really fast. I hope all of what I throw at you kind of sticks. And if you have any questions, you can just kind of do your own sort of homework and follow up, because I think I'm going to move a little bit fast. Okay, let's see here. About me, I'm kind of really a kid at heart, and I am, the theme is Crossroads. I'm kind of at the intersection of being both a native San Franciscan and a 100% proud Salvadoran. I am a migrant, and my story of migration has lots to do with a war that happened in the 80s, and that's why my family is here, and that's why a lot of Salvadorians and a lot of migrants are in the city of San Francisco. And I think if you could really sort of talk about what my values are, I deeply love San Francisco because it is a great place to be yourself, whatever that is. And that is one of the values that Rachel spoke about that I really sort of want to continue to push in a changing San Francisco. Shout out to my resident alien card and my really goofy signature where it starts really big and gets really small at the end. So, I think before, thanks for that really amazing sort of bio. I forget what's in there sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta update that thing. But before there was any of those accolades, the one thing that I had was murals. The one thing that really sort of inspired me, that really sort of was my initiation to any kind of creativity. It was the murals of my neighborhood that I grew up in, which is the Mission District. And that's where I learned this practice, and that's where I sort of continue to do it. And so because I was given this opportunity to participate in community murals, I feel very passionate about pushing it. And so I'm always taking on volunteers, interns, and here I am with one of my young mentees, Angel, who's a native of Guatemala. Shout out to one of the things that sort of, it shouldn't, but I guess it really sort of does, grounds me in my San Franciscanness is the San Francisco Giants, which I'm a passionate fan of, as well as the 49ers. And I would be remiss not to point out that we're about 300 yards away from one of the coolest places on earth. And so I love being here also because of that. They also sponsored this mural at the Latino Task Force. And so we did this there together. And that I just randomly met Angel one evening when he came by and said, oh, I like doing this. Can I do this? And I was like, you absolutely can. Please join. All right, I could go on for days, but I'll just kind of keep it moving. I am a muralist, and I do stuff from various different sizes. I really don't discriminate. I do them very small. I do them very big. This one happens to be 8 stories tall. Has anybody seen this one in the city? Anybody who frequents the Mission? No? Yes? It's on the corner of 19th and Bryant Street. So it's about, I don't know, maybe a mile and a half from here. And I did it in collaboration with Cece Carpio and Miguel Perez Bounce, amongst a lot of other artists that assist. And I say that, I liken being a creative person to being a person of faith also, because you need to kind of see what's there before it exists. And you have to take some risks. And sometimes those are really freaking scary. I think this is the only way I can share this picture, because this is actually what it felt like to be up there. There's Cece and Miguel and myself, and there's nothing underneath us making this mural happen. And so we're dangling, and I've never had to do a mural where I had to sort of check. I always check the weather, but I never had to check the wind, because that can rattle your whole world up there. So I was definitely talking to my angels. I got to know them very well during this project. All right, moving right along. I went from being 8 stories up to literally kissing the ground. I've participated in a series of ground murals. They're called the Slow Streets Fast Friends Project, and it basically inspires people to slow down. It's like, check out this beautiful mural. Haha, you had to drive a little slower to sort of do that. And so it generally demarks places where there's a lot of children, there's schools. And so if you've seen some of these around town, I've helped participate in some of these. Okay, this one's hot off the press. This was on yesterday's Instagram. I don't know if you guys know about this one. Woo! This is the new park at Ocean Beach, and it's called Sunset Dunes. It got inaugurated last week. And essentially it took part of the Great Highway and turned it into a park. If you want to know about how many square feet and miles and this and that, I'm going to ask you to then do your own follow-up, because I don't have those statistics for you. I'm just being 100% honest. But it's a lot. It's about, I'm guessing, no less than 2.5 miles. And I got to do sort of the introduction mural that lets people into the space from the south side, the north side facing south. So this is the sketch. Shout out to the designers. This is the sketch, and this is kind of what it looks like now. I'm going to have to go ahead and say that it's not all the way done. I'm going to be there tomorrow. If you all want to come by and say hi, you're welcome to. I have no dietary restrictions. I love coffee. You guys want to come by and maybe sweat a little bit with us. We'll be kind of clear coating it and putting some grip on there. If you want to come by and say hello, you're more than welcome. From between the hours of 11 and 3. So yeah, if you wear something you don't care about, you might get paint on yourself. Okay, and so that's kind of really ushering people into this new park, which has been very exciting. I think one of the things about loving San Francisco is, for me, it's knowing that it's a moving target, and knowing that as a native San Franciscan, it's a new contract every day that I have to renew. And so participating in this has been kind of a really good reminder of that. I can go on for days and days, but I have to keep it moving. All right. I will say, as it was with the previous work, there's no way in the world anyone can do anything like this on their own. This is not a solitary activity. Everybody from my assistant, Anthony Jimenez, who's an amazing artist, and their beautiful newborn child who were there, giving us some beautiful vibes, to my 70-plus-year-old mother who showed up throwing up deuces, my graffiti buddies and everybody, and people who I just met in between. There's Angel again, just came and really showed a lot of love to make this thing happen. And a resident that we do hope to continue to bring back and thrive, there's a painting of a snowy plover, which is a bird that was near extinction that's native of the Ocean Beach Park. All right, I'm gonna keep it moving. That's what it looks like from the sky, just to give you guys from a drone shot, just to give you guys a different perspective. We were really fighting a lot of sand on this one. I think the biggest challenge for me was that and people who opposed the mural. I want to talk to you about, this might not be the largest in scale, but it's for sure one of the most important and impactful murals that I've ever participated in, that I've ever led. This one, and this is something I want y'all to sort of look into. This is the piece that commemorates the life of a young man named Sean Monterrosa, who during the George Floyd protests of 2020 was killed by the Vallejo Police Department. He was a native of the Mission, and he attended church with my mom. So he was a very important member of the community who deserves to be remembered. His sisters consequently would never obviously let go of this wrongful death, and they went on to become outspoken speakers against police brutality and have a national movement. And so I wanted to shout out them. They're the ones who requested that I do this piece, and they're really the driving force behind it all. And so I had to learn a new technique. You guys see, every mural has its own challenges, but you see these shingles that there's a ton of places in the Mission that have that. We had to figure out how to apply fresh pieces of wood that were cut out onto that surface. Please follow up Sean Monterrosa. Here it is being inaugurated by the community. Again, I really try to have the work sort of have it be understood and have it be celebrated by the people who have to live with it. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't think it's correct to put up a piece of art and to not discuss it with people who have to basically interact with it every day. And so here it is being inaugurated. There was Aztec dancers and a whole community blessing. That is on the corner. Actually, that is your homework. Actually, no, I'll tell you. It's on 24th and South Van Ness in the Mission District. Yes, for sure. I want to give a huge shout out to, anybody here identify as a feminist? Come on. All right, we'll bring those numbers up like someone said before. I want to give a shout out to one of the Mission's most prominent figures that deserves her shines every day. This is Yolanda Lopez, and her work she's an icon of Chicana feminism and an icon of Chicana art. She passed very recently in the last maybe 4 years, and I was fortunate enough to spend some time with her at the end of her life, doing some end-of-life care. And she's done so much work in the Mission District. She helped really define what it is in many ways creatively. And part of the idea of this series was, she said, I know that a lot of people in the community have a huge veneration and a lot of love for the Virgen de Guadalupe, but then there's like a disconnect between how they treat day-to-day women in their lives. And she said, how about if we bestowed the same amount of love and respect that we do for the Virgen and apply that to ordinary women? And so here she is honoring her mother, who's a seamstress. Here she is honoring herself as a runner, which was running and exercise was a part, she saw that as being part of her liberation and part of her freedom. And so I did a portrait of her, and it's not on this photo. Oh my God, I can't believe it. It's not in this photo. But in this, maybe it's in this one. There it is. She always reminded me, she said, Josue, you're a painter and you're an artist and you don't need to apologize to anybody for that. And here she is wearing this bronze pin that is a palette. And I happen to have it here with me as a reminder of that. This is a sort of in-progress shot, but I put it in there. It's just not there yet. So this piece, it kind of commemorates some of her greatest hits in the Mission. Anybody seen this one before? Okay, this one, you have to look for it. It's actually, it looks like it was sponsored and paid for. It was completely like on, it was completely not. And it was, it actually was done without permission at the SF Parks and Rec. I subsequently got a phone call from Parks and Rec and said, "Hey, did you do the mural at the children's playground?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "We'd like to give you permission after the fact." I was like, "Yes, I'll take that." I think one of the reasons why is it's adjacent to a children's playground and it's not far from several schools. So I just want to shout out Yolanda Lopez. I'm going to move a little bit quickly here. Shout out to Michael Roman. This piece is on Lilac and 24th. This is a piece, because the theme was Crossroads, so I want to just make sure that I talk a little bit about that. At the Chinese Historical Society of America, it's a museum in San Francisco, they did a We Are Bruce Lee exhibit. And they asked people from across San Francisco, parts of different communities, to honor him. So I did a little bit of research and I realized that Bruce Lee was a really amazing dancer, and he was actually the cha-cha-cha champion of Hong Kong. So here's my shout out to Bruce Lee, who he had some buenas vibras in him. He had some good vibes in him. He had some picante. All right. Another piece of homework for you all. This is just another fun one, just showing a variety of different styles. This piece is at Omnivore Books, and that is a piece of homework because I can't really talk about it too much because I want to get into the next thing. But you have to figure out where it is. So Omnivore Books, if you like cooking, you like books, you'll love them. It's adjacent to a pet store, which is why this. That's the best reaction ever. Yeah. All right, you got to go see it in person because got to keep it moving. Another piece of homework, Balmy Alley. And this one I do want you to know about. Balmy Alley, it is very particular to the history of San Francisco and murals. You might see many murals, alleys in San Francisco. Balmy was the first. And my question to you, my homework to you is, who started Balmy Alley? Why was it started? Maybe you can find this mural, and it was painted after a book. That's also your homework. All right, I'm gonna do a basically shameless pitch. In honor of Climate Week, which is part of why I pitched to the team here, I am doing a residency at Recology. Do y'all know what Recology is? Yeah. Recology is colloquially known as the dump. And so there's an art residency there where they let you source materials from the dump and make art from it. And so, whew, if you could only imagine, I thought I loved the city and I thought I knew the city. Imagine seeing essentially the other side of its digestive tract. It's been a lot of fun, and I found some pretty amazing stuff. They give you 4 months and a pretty incredible studio. 2 more minutes. Okay, and this is it. And so I'd like to invite you all to come see what I've been doing for the last 4 months, inspired by the amazing ideas of reuse. How can you take something, that's part of the question for the day, how can you take something in your life and find out a way to reuse it? Okay. 20 minutes. I can go, I used to be a professor. I would lecture for days and days and days, but the challenge is to say it all in short amounts of time. One other thing to look for is this mural that I have coming up at the new Muni yard that's in Potrero. This is about 3 blocks away from where I grew up. So for me, it's particularly a point of pride. This is the proposal that I came up. It's called the Transfer to Tomorrow. And I designed this with Photoshop. It is kind of a new technique meets an ancient technique because it's going to be a digitally printed stained glass. And so I really wanted to honor, it's going to be on a huge stairwell. I think it's like 3 or 4 flights. I wanted to honor the Muni workers. I want to honor the natural world, the hawks and the things within nature. And I gave a shout out to Earth Day. So on one of the transfers there, I'm just doing a quick shout out to Earth Day, and as I close, in closing, I wanted to just say that we are in a pretty amazing, critical moment in this country, and I think I would be remiss to say that it wouldn't take it takes a lot for us to continue to shine light, to continue to defy the darkness, if I could be poetic, and it's one of the reasons why it's important to see when something good is happening to be able to sort of point it out. And so one of the things that I am proud of San Francisco and our transportation is the fact that it's fully electric, and everything at the Potrero Yard will be fully electric, and it's funded. It's funded. It's powered by the Hetch Hetchy, and so there's a little shout out to that. I know you guys' calendar must be absolutely full with all these amazing invites you guys got today, but you all are also invited May 16th, 17th, and 20th to my Recology exhibit. Please come. Again, no dietary restrictions. Please bring a snack. Just kidding. No, come and enjoy. There's artist talk on the Tuesday. If you already haven't gotten enough of me yapping, and you can keep in touch. Here's my email. Here's my QR code. Once again, just shout out to you all for being here. Thank you for having me. I'm eternally grateful, and I don't know what else to say. I mean, is it Friday yet? I mean, let's go. Let's get out of here.